All right, good morning everybody, and welcome to the All Markets webinar at Bookmap here. We're going to be going through live order flow analysis, everybody, and welcome and understand the participants in the auction process and what these players are doing. When we start to understand their activity via orders and hence order flow, we can start to understand where price might go. So that's what order flow can do for you, and that's why we follow it here in Bookmap. General disclosure, all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. We may take positions in here. It is not a trading room. It's not a trade copying service or anything like that. This is about understanding order flow and applying it to your trading. So the reason we will take positions is to demo considerations, reading the order flow, where you might find opportunities to learn about order flow, entries, exits, and trade management. That's really the key here, because a lot of traders will cover, oh, you enter here and you get out there. Managing the trade is a huge part of trading and getting really good at management. All right, so we're going to use the order flow to tell us and guide us in the management. There's a couple different things here to go through as well. We have an onboarding webinar every Tuesday. So if you are new to Bookmap, you can come to this on Tuesday. I'll show you where you can go. You can go to bookmap.com and then you can click on education right here from the main toolbar. And then you can just scroll down a little bit here and you'll see all the events that we have each week here. We're actually updating this calendar. It'll look a lot nicer, I think, later today. Anyway, you can see the events here for next week. Here it is at 2 p.m. Onboarding webinar here. So if you're new to Bookmap, have any questions, etc., we'll go through it in detail here and get you up and running quickly in Bookmap. Another thing, too, is our Bookmap Academy meeting. If you're new to Bookmap and you are interested in getting some coaching and mentoring, you can come to this event on Thursdays at market close. I've got it here as well. This is our Bookmap Academy. The agenda is to go over your content, your journaling. We open the mic for you to speak so that we can give you feedback directly. Okay, it's a great process that we have here. Really like the community and the academy here. We got some great traders in there. We went through some really good stuff yesterday. You can see the recording on YouTube if you want. All right, let's jump in. Let's take a look here. And we're going to go through a process in here looking at higher time frames to begin with. Okay, now in this version of Bookmap, it's an alpha version that you don't have access to at the moment. But we can look at higher time frame analysis. I can zoom out, and we will be releasing this, of course. But if I zoom out here, you can see back to October, or I'm sorry, yeah, somewhere around October of 2021, I have all this data here in Bookmap. And this is amazing to me. So we will be offering this soon. I don't have any sort of release dates though, and it's highly alpha version right now. So it is, a lot of bugs still to be worked out. However, we can still use this to understand what's going on here in our higher time frame analysis. Okay, so here we are at the figure at 6,100. We're just trading above it right now. We're up at 6136. And we've got some interesting levels up here. A previous high here, all-time high in the S&P E-mini at around this, just above this 6150 level up here. And you can see this back and forth in here. We broke out here. We talked about this last week. This breakout here on the higher time frame. Okay, So these little white or dark spaces in here, these are, it shows the weekend. Okay, so this was all last week here to the upside. We got a major pullback on Monday, and then you can see us coming right back up again. Okay, so there's a lot of back and forth in here. So this was the breakout of this trend line. Okay, it is the retest of the backside of that trend line, and we're still bullish here. Okay, now let's zoom in for the week and take a look here. So I put in a new price channel, which is in our beta version here. You can see it right here. So it's been highly requested, so we got it. We can take a look at, we are within that price channel. We come up to the top of that channel, people fade it. Come down to the bottom of the channel, people buy it. All right, so now what's going on today? It's Friday, and we see the move to the upside here. This is quite bullish, and we traded up into, and we can move in now closer for the day, into high liquidity here, and we're still finding buyers. The next level is up here at this 61.42-ish area here on this time frame. This is really important thing to cover in here on this time frame, right? Because we can, any trading strategy that we look at, the markets are fractal. So you can drill down into smaller time frames. And those, depending on your entry criteria for that time frame, you should manage your trade on that time frame. Okay, there can be exceptions to the rules there, but you're only looking for a specific move to unfold based on the time frame that you are trading. So we'll try in this webinar to go through multiple time frames so that we can all learn from different positions in different time frames. However, we will also take other trades when we see something setting up in the opposite direction, right? Based on maybe a smaller time frame. So anyway, so that's what we got here on the higher time frame. Let's just jump into a candlestick chart here briefly, and we're looking at the same things in here. Okay, let me bring up my pen tool quickly, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so here is the break of that trend line we just talked about. Okay? Yeah, here it is again in here. Here's the retest of that backside of that trend line in here. Okay, and that's what we were just looking at in Bookmap on that higher time frame. And then you can see the bullish activity. Actually, this might be a little off. This is this week here, so I'm sorry. It's actually that's incorrect. Yeah, you go back quite a bit actually. Okay, hold. No, we are looking at weekly bars here. That's what the thing is. Okay, that was screwing me up. We are looking at weekly bars. So that was correct. You know, this is the breakout of that. This was last week, and this is this week here. Okay. Yeah, I mean, still looking bullish here on this weekly chart. What about the daily? Okay. Clearly bullish, and now we're just trading up here and filling a gap though that was left from last week. Okay, here's that Monday and that move down, and then here we are breaking out from that area and moving on up. Now, so you can see up here, it's Friday's end of the week. We have the European close coming up in about an hour and a half, and we've got a nice move to the upside. You know, there's some fundamental data. I think Apple had good earnings, and you know, some other drivers in the market here. Technically, though, we have a lot of reasons here to consider not entering up here for a continuation of the bullish move. Technically, okay. So we just closed the gap here. And if we look at our higher time frame here in Bookmap, we have a lot of reasons. We had that channel, we have the highs, and we have all this back and forth in here on this time frame from earlier in the week. Okay, so I'm looking for a move, maybe a continuation up into this liquidity up here right now, and then we'll see. But as it is right now, just kind of looking for a test for more buying in here to reach up into these levels of high liquidity. Okay, now this is the bigger picture here, and we're still kind of going through that bigger picture and understanding what's going on in here. Good morning, everybody. First off, sorry about that. I kind of ran right into the higher time frames. We'll kind of switch gears and look at lower time frames now. Yeah, last day of the month as well, Shark. Absolutely. So it's the last day of the week, last day of the month. Yeah, we'll want to be kind of careful. Fridays can always be tricky. One good trade. I haven't seen you in here in a while, so nice to see you come back in. Yeah, you can use. You can open up multiple instruments. Multiple charts in Bookmap from the same instrument. You can use the instrument copy in here. It's right here. Or you can also use Trader Map Pro. So I'm actually using Trader Map Pro to open up a different version here that we're going to drill into right now. We just considered the higher time frame here, and then so we're looking for some supply up here at the top of this range. All right, I'm going to jump into another conversation here about supply and demand. And that's really what we want to understand, because that's the order flow, is what kind of supply and demand is there in the market. Now, this area right here, okay, big area right in here, this is supply. These are limit sell orders. And you can see we traded into and through. There are more buyers than there are sellers here. Okay, that is fact. Right, so we trade into it. You can see the big transactions, and we trade through it. Look at the retest back to this area in here. Look at the selling down here. Okay, this is a low volume pullback on this time frame, right? And we're not seeing much selling here. So we look for the buyers to curl back in up in these areas up in here, and that buying pressure to reach back up to the buyers or the supply up in these areas here. Now, usually we just look for the price structure and the move up into the price structure, and maybe consider taking some off at some higher liquidity levels as well. But the higher liquidity levels up here, okay, and that's where we went to. We're still bullish here until we see something else. Okay, now for example, we're bullish, but now see the selling starting to come in here. Some of the aggressive, this is passive supply, limit sell orders in the heat map. This is aggressive supply, market sell orders, hitting the bid, moving price lower. Okay, now look where they hit into. They didn't hit liquidity here, but they came into this area here where those buyers curled in that we just noticed earlier. Okay, you can start to put together a plan based off of some of this information here. So for example, this is a really good one here. High supply, but there's more demand, aggressive demand. Market buy orders. They trade right through it, but the pullback in here, and there's not much supply here. Okay, we're not finding those market sells. Find the market buys and look for them to come up and test into higher levels of liquidity or more supply. All right, same thing. That understanding, okay, that concept, you just mark it up here, okay, of high supply. Let's try that again. High supply, okay, but more demand here with the green dots. Okay, so they trade through it, but they trade back to retest this area here, and there's very little supply. okay, and then we find that the buyers curl back in. All right, so now let's go through that process again here. Okay, now we don't have that high supply. We don't have a breakout here, high supply here. We're looking at actually at this level, and here we go to test it right now. Okay, so we'll get to the current price action in just a minute. Okay, actually we may even find a small opportunity right in this little area in here. Okay, between 61, 31 and 30. Okay, we'll get to it in just a second. But I want to go through this concept because this is more important than maybe a small scalp or trade at the moment. All right, so anyway, same thing happened here. Okay, this is the demand that came in. Okay, this is the demand that came in here and through that supply here. Okay, where's the supply in here? Well, we don't really see much. We don't see many. It's really the aggressor here. It's these guys here. All right, that is the supply in this case. All right, but we know that there's buyers down here, okay, because we can see them here. All right, now we can also take a look back at this area here. So let's just mark this up here. And then we can also mark up the supply here. Okay, now what I'm talking about is this down here in the bars. Okay, we see it in the dots, but look at the bars. There are more buyers or aggressive demand than there is aggressive supply. Okay. All right, so they curl back in here, and we would look for a move back up to where that supply came in, or top of the range, or high liquidity. So up here is not a bad area. Up here as well, not a bad area to consider taking some off and look for continuation, maybe up into our 60-40. And now we're talking about looking at our higher time frame supply and demand. Okay, supply up here. All right, so how this kind of fits into the picture with supply and demand. All right, so now we were just looking and talking about an opportunity potentially below the swing here and into this area in here. Okay, this played out really nicely, in fact, and you can see that we see the sellers hit down into this area here. This is previously where there was that demand. Okay, previously where there was that demand. Okay, but kind of interesting, the sellers were able to press it a little bit harder and go down a little bit lower here. Right, but look at the buyers coming back in now. Right, so now we're going to read the tape in here and look for these buyers in here in the context of the supply and demand. Okay, so this is our aggressive demand here again, and now let's look at some of that supply. Okay, where is it? Well, it's in the liquidity heat map. It's here, and it's also up in these areas up in here. Okay, here comes the demand. I would look for these buyers to try to take it higher and squeeze up into this supply right here. Okay, and we would be taking a shot at that in here. That would be the now let's jump back in and look at our lower time frame here in Bookmap, and we can go through that same analysis in here, but we're going to be looking at a different version of it, or a filtered version of the heat map here. Okay, with the Trader Map Pro, or you can also use the Trader Map Lite, which is free. Okay, demoing this yesterday, Shark, with your deltas in here. Anyway, all right, so let's jump back here and let's take a look. Okay, so actually you can see that this Trader Map Pro version or Trader Map Lite, both of them, are showing that actually the demand here met the supply. We also know, putting these pieces together in here, that we have look at how the Trader Map Pro shows this very nicely here, this liquidity here, and the move into that, and then we see the buyers come back in. All right, but now we're kind of in a range bound area here. We're kind of you know, we know that there's some sellers. We know that there's some sellers. We see them here and here and here. There's still more buyers though. Okay, so we're still kind of looking for this to press higher. Okay, but now our shift is kind of more muted. All right, so this is what I mean by that. If we start to look at our analysis in here, okay, maybe it starts to kind of wane a little bit. Okay, we're starting to kind of top off a little bit here. All right, so now that may change, but I would be looking for the move up into here. Okay, we also said, well, our 40 and our 41 area as well, and then maybe we start to find some sellers up here. Right, so now we're in you know, looking, we're still bullish, still kind of looking for this move up into here. But let's dive into a smaller time frame now. Okay, so on this time frame in here, since about 10 a.m., yeah, we're still bullish. All right, and do we have anything supporting that idea? Yeah, we look at the book in here. It looks pretty good. You can see the order book. It would be better to see high liquidity here, but there is liquidity here on the bid. You can see how it's kind of whitish or bluish in here. Okay, now the high liquidity is up in these areas up here. All right, so the buyers are saying something here. They're saying, well, yeah, we may be a buyer up in these areas up in here. Right, and it's not a big wall of liquidity though. All right, so now let's see if we can actually maybe we can find a small opportunity in this small range in here. All right, this is going to be a breakdown of what we just went through, looking at a smaller range though here. Right, and we'll be looking at this as a very different time frame than what we just covered. Okay, what's it like in this range in here? Well, I'm still seeing more buyers. Right, so now if we can get buyers back up above this level and then really auction up here with a lot more buying, I would look for it to test up into these areas here. Right, now if we start to see the bottom edge in here of a lot more sellers in here, which we don't really see yet, then I would look for the sellers to try to break the range and try to trade down into the demand in here. Okay, so we're just kind of hacking around in here right now. Okay, well, let's zoom in more. All right, so the top of the range is up here. Okay, let's look at the buyers and sellers in here. Okay, so yeah, looks pretty good. They're starting to auction up here. And let's see if we can break this and trade up to this 38.25 or maybe 39. Okay, so we're looking for buyers up here. Okay, we're not looking to get trapped. We want to see follow through. Okay, so note how, like right now, see how we see buyers, and then no buying in here and sellers. So we can get a little bit of a squeeze or a retest to the bottom of the edge here. Okay, and you can see buyers take it right back. Okay, so this is back and forth in here. Okay, here we go. All right, is this enough here for the buyers? I think so. Let's take a shot at this. And we're going to look for this just to trade up to here. All right, that's it. Just looking for top of the range in here. Actually, it is at top of the range in here. Let's see if we can get a little bit more here and follow through. It looks pretty good because the buying is starting to pick up. Okay, so we're filled there. So that was a quick scalp to the upside. Now that was on this smaller time frame. Okay, any questions on this breakdown? I just want to, it's really important because like what time frame are you trading on? If we, now our idea was just to come up to the really the top of the range in here. And that was it. Now, if we zoom out, or if we go back to that higher time frame, that's not what we were looking for. Actually, we're looking for it to come up a little higher here. Okay, but we weren't trading on that time frame, right? So now let's look at this. Take a step back and look at our higher time frame in here. Okay, now we're starting to trade up to it. All right, so it looks pretty good. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the lower time frame. To see, because now we're up in this area in here from our channel and our multi-day or even week analysis here, weekly analysis. And then now let's jump into a Bookmap here. And okay, we traded into high liquidity. These guys actually pulled, but these guys traded, and these guys traded. Now we're up at a level here that's important. Okay, I'm looking for sellers to start to come in. Up at these levels here. Okay, now we're starting to see some, but it's still just a pullback. Okay, so now depending on your time frame, again, you know, if you know this is enough slop in here for you to say like, well, look, you know, maybe I'll take half a position sell side because I know that these aggressive buyers or this aggressive demand met the passive supply here, trading into the high liquidity and limit sell orders on the offer. Right? It's up to you. Or maybe you want to wait until you see more aggressive sellers or supply come in, like the red dots here. Or you want to look for maybe some back and forth in here, distribution, and look for buyers and sellers chop around in a range. I mean, this could press a little bit higher and then drop. And then we'd look for the move back down to test some of the demand where they came in here, okay, on this time frame. Okay, so here's some selling in here. In fact, let's just see if we can grab that and just trade it down to here. Okay, bottom of this range. Okay, right here, actually. I'm going to bring it up one more tick. It's only a couple ticks. And you can see we didn't get that. Okay, the buyers came right in right away after that. Okay, but we still might. Okay, and what I'm leaning on in here is it's not much actually, but we do have our higher time frame. And I'm leaning on this area in here. Okay, all of this supply. Okay, and so after trading into it, especially on this higher time frame that we noticed, we're looking for a pullback or chop after trading into the supply. Okay, and we'll see if we get it here. Okay, there's still auctioning on the buy side up here, so it's not looking too good right now. All right, so yeah, here we go. They're starting to break out, but they met, you know, some of the again, some of the supply up here. Let's see if we can, this might be enough in here. Maybe they need to trade up to 45. Okay, maybe that's enough to finally, where the buyers meet the sellers up here, that we get a bigger pullback in here. All right, still auctioning up here. All right, you see the exhaustion here in sellers, but this is still kind of meaningless. I mean, it's something to look at, but it's in the range here. We want to see the selling down here at the bottom of the range to break it. Okay, so let's see if we can get that in here. So see the selling in here is it's very small amount of selling right here. We need to see a lot more to be able to break it. Okay, you can see a little bit more, but it's just not enough. Very choppy, very small range, about a point and a half wide. Okay, there's some selling coming in. It just dumps it here. Now let's see if I can go a little bit lower here. I think I'm just going to exit this one. Well, oh, hold on. Maybe we'll get. Let's let this play out here. Now this is just out of the blue here. Okay, these are just seller. Someone came in and hit market sell. Okay, but you get enough of these here, and everyone kind of gets the message here that sellers are starting to take control of the market. Okay, you can see how the buying and selling is still kind of battling up here because buyers come right back up to test where those sellers came in. Okay, now let's see, do we get an, we've seen this so many times where like this move happens, come back up here again, and we see those same sellers reload and hit it again. And we'll see. Maybe we don't. Maybe we get squeezed up in here. Maybe these guys get squeezed up in here. Okay, see how the behavior is coming back in again. All right, so now it made it back down to the bottom of our range. Okay, that was kind of a silly idea or silly trade in here. It was just a demo though. This is where that supply came in, and we had our higher time frame. Okay, we got squeezed here, and then we just took this, and we're only looking for this move down to here, really, or yeah, here, and that's where we moved our take profit. Okay, well, we had to endure a squeeze here, and then now we're starting to see maybe this curl around a little bit, and making things pretty interesting now. All right, so I hope this, let me know if this makes some sense regarding the time frames. We're on YouTube. I mean, you see the same things day in and day out, or minute in and minute out. Like this little area right in here. I mean, there's so many things going on in here, but we can just kind of zoom out and simplify it. All right, so for example, this is turned into a little range. Okay, and they're trying to break out from that and have it sustainable. Okay, so go into the time frame that makes the most sense for you and your risk management, and start to look for some of these elements. Okay, makes sense to you? Good trade. All right, now see how much more complex it's starting to get up here in this area. So it's a lot harder to put together. We saw sellers. Okay, now this is likely one larger player. Now, we don't know that, but like, you know, this kind of selling like this aggressive selling like that, it's someone sweeping the order book. Okay, moving price lower. In fact, we can, if we add stops and icebergs here to this chart, we'll probably see a lot more. Let's add that in and bring that confluence into our trading. All right. Some of you guys have oh, these concepts hold true on anything. It's just supply and demand. One good trade. Let's see. Okay, so all right. So now let's take a look at again. We're gonna go through that same process again in here, and take a look at some of the structure. Okay, because getting kind of interesting here. Okay, see how now this is this flagging? Do we see, like, is it a flag pattern? I don't think so. I mean, I'm starting to see, some heavy selling starting to come in here, right? So, and we're up at our higher time frame level here as well. Okay, so now we're trading into and retesting some of the demand down here. All right, so we can see this kind of turning over now. All right, now this would be, and that's, if that is the case, this would be like a kind of a counter trend trade in here. Is to try to buy it down here and look for a move back up into here. Okay, so yeah, I mean, maybe we see the sellers that they're able to reach back down to the bottom of this range here. Okay, pretty dark in here, so buyers can move it right back up here pretty easily. And you can see how they're filling in that gap for you volume profile traders. All right, actually, what we can do as well is we could even look for this being a pullback. What's that buying look like in here? Maybe this is establishing a new trading range in here. Okay, so maybe you want to be a seller up in here on a smaller time frame. This time frame thing is really critical. Just so people get the right idea. So if we got in here, we'd be out up here, and also maybe out at the bottom of the range in here, right? So we'd be looking for just being a seller up at the top of the range. May even consider being up here with this liquidity behind us. Okay, then this is where you could also look at maybe half a position here, if you're looking for trading this bigger range in here. Okay, so here we are at the top of the range in here. There's our sellers. Okay, so we kind of moved our target or our entry away in here, and we'd still probably be in it. I don't think it really traded down here, but we're just looking for a little range bound trade in here. But the same ideas that we've been covering on the much higher time frames. Well, let's see, is there enough selling in here to get into this liquidity and through it and then come back down to the next level? Here we go. We're going to get our answer here. Let's see. All right, so let's zoom out a little bit. So we're starting to see that reversal unfold. Okay, so yeah, maybe this is where we need to start to look for some buyers like at this level around 35.5 or so. Okay, or maybe it's down here. Maybe we're looking for sellers to really take it down all the way back down to the bottom of this level here. Oh yeah, can you still be in sim and be part of the academy? Absolutely. Being part of the Bookmap Academy is really about your journaling, and yeah, you don't have to be trading live. I mean, yeah, well, we want to see you trading live, but we want to see you trading in sim live. You can even be trading in replay mode, and it's really great to see a lot of guys like Rob. When I asked you yesterday, you were saying like, yeah, I just, how did you backtest and come up with your methods? And you said, well, I studied a certain method, and then you went through replay mode to test it, kind of forward test it. It's kind of like a hybrid between back testing and forward testing. The back testing thing, we kind of went through it today. Like, look for some of these things to understand the supply and demand in here. And starting to put those together, there's something to it. Like, this is where they came in. Okay, so we kind of retest back down here. And then now you can see the demand coming back in, right? Because that's where these buyers were, right? So now, where are they going to take it, right? Are they going to take it back up in here, right? Where we had this other kind of structure here, or will they just take it to here in this structure? Okay, is this where we're going to find selling start to come back in? And this would not be a high probability trade, but let's take a shot at it here. Okay, I'm a seller up here, okay, at the top of this range, and they just traded into some of the high liquidity here. Not much, but some. Okay, and where am I going to buy it back? Okay, well, it depends on the time frame I'm trading. What am I looking for? Are we looking for a scalp just down to this bottom of this little range in here, or maybe this range down here, or are we looking for back down to this range here? Okay, so you'll have to determine your time frame and then manage your risk accordingly. Okay, I don't like this sell in here because of no, I do like the top of the range, and I do like the liquidity in here, but I don't like it because look at all that buying pressure right behind it here. Okay, and now we're getting our answer, right? They're coming in. We're likely to get stopped out on this one. Okay, we'll see. In fact, I'm going to move it just up slightly here because of our technical level here, just a tick or two above that trend line that we just drew in. Okay. All right, we're going to get stopped out. There we go. Okay, so but take a look here. Ooh, what do I have here? Okay, I had some open orders in there. So this is what you can take away and learn from some of these things in here. This traded to the top of the range. We did have some supply up here. We had some selling in here. Is this the new range that we want to look at? Okay, well, they started to break it here, and they started to break it on some size. So how would you what would you take away from this trade in here and learn? Okay, for me, is this demand in here? Okay, they're coming in, and you can see that in here. So I don't like that, and we mentioned it even before this little pop here took place. Okay, but and I don't care about the loss. I care about understanding the takeaway from this in here. and that should filter your trading. Okay? Because now what have we done? We've traded to the top end of this range up here. Okay, highs of the day. Okay, now this looks much better up here to be a seller. Okay, we trade up into this area up in high liquidity in here, and now look at the selling coming in. So we know that there's sellers up here, no question about it. Okay, based off of that, I would look for a little bit of a bounce in here, maybe a pullback, and then maybe we'll find more sellers. Okay, so maybe the pullback would come up to about here. Okay, so let's see if we can get that. Let's just demo it. All right, so pull back, and let's see if we get more sellers now. Okay, because that's where they came in here. So, you know, we talk about supply and demand or support and resistance. This is that resistance up in here. This is where we're looking for sellers. And this is why reversals can be very tricky here, because there's lots of back and forth. That's some pretty heavy selling. In this time frame. Okay, they're pulling that liquidity in here. In fact, we didn't really trade into this liquidity up here, right? And now they're starting to pull some of it as well. The question is, do we get the aggressive buyers or not? We don't know that yet. And if we do, we're going to see a squeeze and a move right up into our stop. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Justin, over in YouTube. You guys might want to join us over here in Discord. There's no cost to it. All right, so it looks like we're going to get squeezed here. We'll see though. We're trading into that high liquidity, and the answer comes after this transaction takes place here. Okay? Is there still more demand above it? Is really the answer here, or what we want to see or obtain an answer to. Okay, is there still more demand up here? Okay, so traders, sellers taking it down to the bottom of the range here. Okay, now are we looking for a break of this range at this point? I'm really not, to be honest. It may happen, and if it does, maybe we're looking for the swing down here. But I'm kind of looking for it just to trade to the bottom of the range here. And I know that's not much, but you guys get my point here. Okay, we get quite a bit of demand coming back in here. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of protect it. I'm just going to take the small loss here. Okay, this is not doing what I was looking for. Okay, so what we're looking for in here was a retest back to here, on low volume and then continuation. This is not it. Okay, we gave it a chance in here for top of the range and then back to the bottom of the range here. Okay, this here is an like I said, a retest. You're trading from inside to outside. It's not a range bound trade. You're not trading from outside to inside. All right, hitting high liquidity up here now at 44. Let's take a look at this auction up here. Okay, starting to break the structure, okay, and breaking it on volume. Okay, stop run here as well. And let's see if we can get a few more buyers. Love to see them hit this 45 here and make the transaction into that. And let's see vertically. Yeah, maybe trade up to the figure here, 50. Okay, very, very tight little range in here. Highs of the day. Let's jump back. Let's look at our higher time frame here in Bookmap. Okay, so you know, at the top of our range in here that we had marked up, and then our next level was up here at 50, as you guys can see. We can draw another little range in here too. Kind of break it down a little bit more, another channel. So yeah, maybe 50, kind of channel within a channel here, two different time frames. Okay, now we'll watch this area up in here though. If we really just can't get through, then I'm looking for sellers, and then I'm looking for a move back down to 36 here, or maybe even further down to our 30 level, or maybe even POC way down here, just meaning the most traded level here around 25. Okay, could break this channel here and trade back down to kind of the middle of the bigger time frame channel, which would be down here. All right, so yeah, and also let's confirm that up with our candlesticks. Take a look here. Okay, so still bullish. But you can see on the 15-minute chart the back and forth that we were just kind of looking at in here. Okay, we're breaking out though. Okay, daily chart looks pretty good to trade up to about this 50 level, 48 to 50. Okay, high liquidity, just transacting. Put another channel in here. Something like this. It's kind of breaking it right now. Okay, so the question here is, are we going to go exponential, or are we going to exhaust out and see some selling come back in? Okay, for a pullback. And let's take a look at the order flow. There's some exhaustion, there's some selling. All right, sellers, if sellers start to come in here, where are they likely to take it? Let's even take a shot at it here. And maybe down to here, where those buyers came in, and we see some liquidity in here as well. Again, I don't like this as a trade idea very much. So I'm just demoing this understanding in here about supply and demand. And we have our reasons for it. We see some of the exhaustion in here up at the top of our range after trading into higher liquidity up in here. But buyers are still in control of this. This is just a pullback here right now. And maybe it goes exponential, but to me, this looks like a pretty nicely established understanding of this is a little bit too high in the auction. This is a little bit too low in the auction. That's how you get these trending environments. So now we're looking for some sellers to come in and meet the buyers down here at some of these levels. Okay. And that's it. I'm going to move my stop to break even. Break even for so our profits, our take profit has been hit. That's it. That's all I'm looking for. And the reason that stop to break even is it wasn't just to protect the loss. It's like these are where the sellers came in. If I get buyers back up above where these sellers came in, the squeeze is on to the upside, and I don't want to partake in that and have to be a buyer back up in here. I'd rather be a buyer down in here and where we hit some liquidity, and this is where those buyers came in here. Okay, can't make that kind of stuff up because here they are. They're coming right back in now. So we got kind of lucky on our take profit on that one. Guys, I mentioned this before in the past, like luck is a part of this. It is probabilities. This is no different than going to the craps table. It's just different. Is going to the craps table and you have 6 7s and 8s on your side. So just keep rolling the dice again and again. You know you have an edge, and that 6, 7, and 8 should show up more than any other numbers, 7 especially, right? Then next is 6 and 8. it's just the way it is with the probabilities of the two dice. And that's what we're looking at in here. We're trying to narrow down this kind of into a setup and understanding in the order flow so that we have some sort of edge. And we don't know after that. Okay, every time we take a shot at this, it's not going to be a 6, 7, or 8. It could be a 12. It could be a 2. You know, we don't know, right? It could be a 12 many times over, and we don't know. And that's just the law of things. It's the nature of things. But you know, it's more likely that those 6, 7, and 8s will show up again and again. So the question is, how well do you know your setup? How much do you trust it? And are you able to execute time and again? And if you do have a string of losses, how can you sustain it? Okay, and that's not trade management, that is account management at that point. Right? So we're all going to have losses, and we're going to have strings of losses. But how do we manage that? Okay, so we got some really great traders in here in our Bookmap Academy in the room right now. Here, John 412, Rob Davis just passed his top step account or evaluation, and we got Shark, Steven, and that's about it. Trading is life. These guys are all in the academy. They're doing great work. You know, let's just take Rob, for example. Rob has taken 137 trades with this one setup in mind. And he now knows, he believes in it because he knows it works for him. He knows what his setup looks like. Okay, so we got, you know, the bottom tick here on our take profit. So maybe it's a little stroke of luck. But we're also leaning on something in here technically. And we know it works because we've done it many times over. I didn't like this trade setup to begin with. It's counter trend. Okay, but we had our reasons for this pullback, and this one worked out this time. Okay, it rolled a 6, 7, or 8. All right, so earlier we had one that didn't work, right? And we took a loss on it. Okay, and then earlier yet we still had some other ones that worked out nicely. Anyway, that's just the way it is. It is not. I think it's really important to understand. It's not like showing up to a job where you know that you got a paycheck at the end of the day. You don't know. In fact, you might have losses. You might have all week. You might have losses. You show up to work. You work really hard. Doesn't matter. You're going to have losses, right? And that may happen. So how do you overcome some of these things? Okay, so let's losses hurt, Rob. Let's just kind of cover it here. So for example, Rob has found a way. It's really John 412 though. Like, well, David Blake, one of the Bookmap coaches, Academy coaches, and others in here, especially John though, with his way of managing this, and he knows that he takes a trade in his setup that he's got a number, a probability around it, 80%. That it will hit his first target and he'll be able to take some off and be able to pay himself. Okay, make a little bit of money every day. Right, so that's what he does, and he waits for his setup, his high probability setup, and he takes it, and then he pays himself a little bit, and then he builds his account with the runners. Right. These are some of the considerations in here. So now what we're talking about is not so much about order flow, and setups, we're talking about management. Okay, risk management and account management. And that's why we take positions in here. It's not a trade copying room. It's just to show you some of those ideas. Okay, that's it. Question: in a counter trend trade, do you consider trade duration? It depends. Usually like for example, what was this one here? We got stopped out on. Heck, where was it? So yeah, this one here, right? Okay, so again, top of the range in here, selling coming in. Okay, it traded into high liquidity through here. So this was not a very good setup, but just to demo it, top of the range here, we know sellers are in control. We know that they start to trade into some high liquidity in here. We see the selling come in. I'm just looking for a pullback and maybe some of these areas in here. Now, if it starts not to do it, I shouldn't have. I should have just, you look back at this and it's telling you like, get out. Anyway, I kind of wait for the order flow to tell me, typically, right? And then that's it. So if it doesn't work, and the way I want it to work, then I'm out. Here, for example, this was a good example. I should have also not stayed in this. Happened here. Yeah, we got out here, right? But right here, I'm expecting something to happen, and if it doesn't happen, I should get out. Okay, maybe my stop would be up here, and that's it. Okay, because this is where sellers took control, and I'm looking for them to stay in control. Right? It doesn't matter if it chops around in here or whatever, but I'm looking for the order flow in here to tell me that there's still more sellers in control, and bottom of the range is where I'm looking. All right, but over time you'll see that order flow shift and change, and you might have a bias to the upside at that point, and then that's probably a good place to exit as well. You have reasons for it, right? It looks like it's going to come up at 12, not a 7. Yeah, Rob, this is something that I really keyed in on yesterday, what you said here. I'll just read it out if you don't mind. Yep, losses hurt. It's just our animal instinct. Can't really change that completely, but having those statistics showing your edge with a large sample size helps you with confidence and sticking to it. Exactly. So that like that really dumb example of the craps table and 2 dice, or the dice 6, 7, and 8 are going to show up more often than not over time. You're going to lean on that. That's your edge. That's it. Okay, now how do you manage your edge? Okay, so that's where you had talked about some of that, Rob, and then also John has been kind of a really great model and mentor for some of that trade management. Oh, Justin, what was the thesis on the counter trend? I thought I went through it. Okay, yeah, okay, you answered. Okay, let's see. Right, that was it over YouTube. Okay. Okay, so now look at this here. Now we're still in an uptrend, right, in this channel. But look at the selling starting to come in now. Okay. So where are these sellers going to take it? They've taken it down to the bottom of this little range in here. We're breaking up again time frames. Now we're looking at a smaller time frame in here, right? We're in this little range in here. Okay, but we'd look for the sellers to take it down into here. Okay, just like that other trade. Okay, they may break it now too. I kind of missed it already. But the one thing that we've seen, like in these kind of channel trades like this, yeah, I mean, it may break it, and it may break it on heavy selling and come all the way back down to here to 40 or something like that. First stop would probably be around here at 43. But what I like to see in some of these channels is it start to wane up here, like the price action instead of the channel like this, it starts to go like this. And right now you're still seeing it auction up here, and you're still seeing buyers at the top of the channel. Okay, what we're seeing now is a shift in change right here in volume. Okay, right here. Okay, see the selling in here. Now look at some of these other areas in here. Do you see selling like that in any of these areas? Maybe right in here where we thought it was going to drop as well. Right? So now we're looking for our sellers, and we may find those sellers, really come in here and drive the market lower now. Okay, I don't want to be a buyer here at the bottom of this channel here. This is too much selling. Okay, so I'll stay away from it. All right, so we it is breaking it, but I imagine we're probably going to see some back and forth down here because it's still, it's still holding it. We're not finding it exhausting out or anything like that. We're just finding some sellers come in. Probably going to find some buyers fight it back. All right, let's take a look again back at our higher time frame. Start here in Bookmap and our channel. Okay, here you can kind of see that channel. Maybe I should draw on another one in here. Yeah, if I draw a channel within a channel in here, it will you'll see it's still holding it. We're going to go with this one. It's still holding it, but on that higher time frame, it's not really holding. I'm sorry, it's breaking it on the downside, but on the upside, it's still holding it. But look at this one here. See, in fact, let's edit it a little bit here. Okay, so we're going to take this out of the equation and look for this. Okay, so it is kind of waning here on this higher time frame. Okay, that's kind of what we're looking for on this time frame. All right, so now that means that trading down to 40 looks more likely on this time frame. All right, so let's see here. Okay, so do we have anything to support that? Are we looking for a higher? Now, if we're looking for a higher time frame move down here into 40, now I know it's only 4 points in the S&P here, but you probably would have been looking for it up in here someplace, especially here. But what was I going to say here? Oh yeah, well, we have the European close coming up. Yeah, makes good sense. This is just not the place I want to get in right now and get squeezed here because I'm not trading off of that higher time frame. Okay, but I would look for the move down to here, down to 40. Okay, because on this time frame in here, I would have been getting in here, and where would my risk be? Maybe up here, looking for the break, but higher time frame, you'd be in here, and your stop would probably be up in here someplace. Okay? And maybe you'd take some off down here, and maybe even hold for a bigger move. Okay, maybe down to this swing down here, or this liquidity down here around 35. Yeah, I mean, look, this is why I covered this higher time frame. I mean, we've seen it so many times in the Bookmap Academy. What just works? Using your higher time frame filter, whatever it might be, it doesn't have to be the way we're looking at it here, but something. Maybe it's VWAP for the day. Maybe it's an anchored VWAP for an important swing. Maybe it's like John and Rob are using options. Shark is using levels, and he's also using footprint levels and looking for a change in delta. These are the filters. Steven's looking at higher time ranges and areas of swings and things like this. He's also looking at some of the initial balances and some of these other levels. Okay, low of day, high of day, etc. Point of control, and yeah, some of the auction market theory stuff. All right, so anyway, using that filter is really, we just see the results are much better. Higher time frame, knowing your edge, looking at the order flow, looking at confluences on those higher time frames, and then a management system wrapped around all of that is going to likely, you're higher, more likely to have positive results. Okay, because you've looked at it, you've drilled it down. All right, so what is your higher time frame filter? Right, there's all sorts of ways to, and you keep it simple. Right, just look at, maybe you can just look at high a day, or look at your your daily candles in here, etc. Like, this is still bullish, there's no question about it. But now we're looking at it in a different light, and we're looking for a deeper pullback now by the sellers. Okay, so yeah, maybe we'll come back down into this kind of 35 or 34 area, someplace down in here, 36, I should say. Okay, so we're starting to see the selling coming in. Okay, selling here met some of the demand in here. Okay, but is there more selling? See how it kind of absorbed that selling in here? And now we're starting to find some buying, and now we're in a range now. We're back and forth. So we were looking for the move into 40, and we haven't gotten it yet. Right? And what's the likelihood of it? Well, based off of what we're reading in here, I don't know. It doesn't look too good in my mind. Why? Well, we can look at all sorts of things and confluences in here. It's really back and forth. Heavy selling here, no doubt about it. But what about in here? I don't see a lot of selling. Okay, now they're starting to show in. Maybe it's just a larger player going to move this market and hit into 40. Okay, we don't know that either. They may just come in and sweep the order book and hit into 40 here. Right? Everything up to this point, we didn't really know. Now it's looking pretty good to trade into 40 and break this edge here. They will probably get a pullback maybe to about 42. We might not. It might come right straight down into 40 and 39 here. Yep, and that's what it's going to do. Okay. So I kind of shied away from that one based on not seeing this kind of waning top edge in here on the channel. Okay, but when we zoomed out and we saw it on the higher time frame, it is doing that. So that was nice. Okay, so now look at our we've got this we've got several channels in here. We got 3 different channels in here. And now we're trading back down. Likelihood is back down to about, it looks like around 37 or so, somewhere around here, the swing down here. Okay, but we have a really big channel in here based off zooming out for several weeks. Okay, back to, or I'm sorry, no, for the week. These are days in here. These are little day periods. Here's the weekend. One good trade, yeah. I really this webinar here, thank you in your interest in the academy. This webinar here, we're trying to keep it simple and just understand supply and demand. That's the goal, and then you guys build upon that. And also we have other streamers, influencers, traders of all sorts, partner educators that trade many different ways, but they still use order flow. Like for example, coming up next in just less than 5 minutes here, Tom B is going to go through his process and how he trades using auction market theory, and he's a profile trader. Okay, he's going to be talking about the same types of things. He's going to be talking about in terms of volume profile. He's going to be looking at these profiles in here, and like the swing that we were just talking about, around what, 37 or so, is right here. It's a low volume node. Okay, and a test into here means that it is likely to reject and trade back into the mean. Okay, or it could. That's a scenario here. Okay, we're looking at the swings and the price action, and he's looking at maybe this little area, or maybe it has to come down into this 29 or 30 area down here. Okay, and trade into that and reject, because this is rejection in here. There's not many trades in here. Okay, now you can look at it here. Now did it reject in here? No, it blew through it, right in here. But it didn't trade here very long. There was just way more buyers. Okay, actually, here's the retest of it here, and also that was denied. Okay, that failed, and you see the buying come back in, which led to this really nice move here to the upside. Okay, for this entire session, basically. Okay, now we're seeing the sellers come in though. All right, guys. Well, we'll wrap it up. Thanks for coming, everybody. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Better yet, just come over to Discord. The community is way better than over here on YouTube. So you'll get access to many different things. You'll get there's materials over here. You have the Bookmap Academy. You have all these other streamers. You have chat rooms for all these other streamers, etc. So take advantage of that. Jump into the community and get started and see if you like it. Like I said, it's no cost to it at all. See if it's something that works for you, and if not, just say la vie. Move on to something else. All right. Thanks for coming, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll catch up with you on Monday.